Hi, this is Christian Chase with Chase Real Estate and ChaseForeclosure.com. Hey, one important topic that all of our investors need to pay close attention to is communication with contractors. And this is where things can go the right way or completely the wrong way. And I just want to explain some of the situations that have happened and how we've solved it and really come up with a great way for our investors to communicate with everyone involved in the transaction. Every pertinent party knows what's happening on that transaction at any moment, from the time that you buy it to the time that you sell it and close on it. Everybody knows what's going on visually with photos and video and communication. So a long time ago, I realized, hey, the communication gap is probably the biggest cause of issue and stress on any of these transactions. If you are not communicating well, or you're not communicating the same way with a contractor, with a realtor, with any service provider that you have, there's going to be a lot of issues that are going to come up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And again, I've been doing this for 26 years. I can tell you I've pretty much seen it all. So I said a while ago, a number of years ago, I said, I got to fix this. I mean, there's a problem. I think there's an easy solution, and we came up with something called Workplace. And I'll go into that in a minute, and I'll do kind of some tutorials on how to actually use Workplace to your benefit. But one of the most important things is the communication with a contractor. So you close on a property, and the renovation is going on. And what happens a lot of times is you as an investor and the contractor will find a way that you like to communicate. Hey, I like to communicate via email, or I like telephone calls, or I like text messages. And the only issue with that is everybody does communicate a little bit differently. Like, I'm not really good at texting, meaning I know how to text, but to keep it all very organized and in an organized format, for me, that's very tough. Now, Christy, my partner, she can handle text left and right and enjoys it. So, but to communicate with me that way and then to communicate with her that way, you're going to have a different experience. And that's going to be the same thing with renovation contractors. They all communicate differently. And the one thing that I would say is the way that renovation contractors communicate best is visually, okay? If you see something, or there's an issue at a property, or if they see something at a property and have a question, to try to describe something takes a lot longer than snapping an image and putting it onto Workplace. So a lot of our clients will make telephone calls, those text messages, and emails back and forth, and maybe start a group text or an email thread, and conference calls and all those types of things. And that really doesn't work. I'm telling you, I've seen it. We've tried it for years and years, but the technology exists. And we've implemented that into our business for all of our investors. I pay for this stuff, so I would like to see everybody use it, because to me it's valuable. I personally use it. A majority of our investors use this. All of our contractors use it. And I would like to see that our investors that come on board, that they start to adapt and get into today's world of investing and in business. The technology and the tools exist. You just have to absolutely use them. And so I'm providing them. I'd like you to use them. There's no financial benefit in me having you use this. My financial benefit is it was a good transaction. It was smooth. It was profitable. Boom, you're out buying another property with us again. So that's my financial interest in this thing. So I'm willing to invest in it so your experience is good. And really, I did it for myself. I invested in a lot of properties. I wanted to have a good, clear way to communicate. So what happens a lot of times is those investors will be on an email thread, and the investor and the renovation contractor are going back and forth on items. Well, I have no idea. Christy has no idea what's actually happening with your property. We don't know that, because you guys are on your own text messages, group message, and we don't know what's happening in that group message. And it's not always tidy. We can't easily refer back to it. And so that's one problem. Or that telephone call, well, I said I wanted the fence fixed, but the fence didn't get fixed. Okay, well, you did say it, and I wouldn't disagree with the investor, or the contractor said that they did fix it. I can't disagree with that. But an image and communication saying that we're going to do something that's in writing is, I think, always a little bit more valuable. It's not a contract. It's just something in writing and a record of good record keeping, essentially, kind of our minutes for our property. And so the more that you can learn how to communicate, the better. And so what we did is we put in place Workplace, and I'm going to do a tutorial here on how to actually use it the right way. It's super quick, easy. This is not going to take, if you know how to use Facebook, you're 99.9% of the way there. If you don't know how to use Facebook, you'll be able to figure this out. It's built by Facebook, but it's not affiliated with Facebook, so you don't need to have a Facebook account. None of this stuff is public or anything like that. But it's a great communication tool. So the day you buy a property and you close on it in foreclosure, what we're going to do is our team is going to create a group. It's called a multi-company private group, private secret group. So essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to invite you, the investor, in. We're going to invite the renovation contractor, any pertinent parties, other pertinent parties. Christy, myself, your real estate broker is inside that Workplace. So there's a picture of the property up at the top, and I know a lot of you have seen this, but there's a picture of the property, and then there's a timeline below there. So very, very simple. During this whole timeline that you see, that's where communication should be happening. That's where everybody should be talking about this property, and not just talking about it via typing messages and things like that, but also visually. Photos, like I said, that tells a great story. A video tells an even better story. So the more that you can put on there and communicate through Workplace, the better it's going to be. And one thing that I encourage investors to do is utilize the quality control inspectors. That costs $400 to hire a quality control inspector that will visit your property from the day that you buy it in foreclosure to the day you close on it with your end buyer. They will visit the property every 2 weeks. They'll take a full set of photos, and they'll upload all those photos into Workplace so you can see it, your renovation contractor can see it, Christy can see it, I can see it, any other pertinent parties can see what's happening at that property. Every 2 weeks, religiously, every 2 weeks, they're going out there taking a full set of photos and then even commenting, hey, there's an issue here that should be addressed right away. So if you take a combination of Workplace and a combination of a quality control inspector, you put them together, you've got one hell of a business. I can assure you that. And it's very, very sophisticated. It's simple, but it's sophisticated. Most people don't do this stuff. And that's what I just knew there's a problem. And I go, if there's a problem, I always know that there's a solution. And the solution is simple. It's take Workplace, take a quality control inspector, blend the two together, then we know exactly what's happening. And here's why I like the quality control inspectors for our investors is the quality control inspector is like checks and balances in a way. The quality control inspector works for you. They don't work for the renovation contractor, and they don't care what the renovation contractor is doing. The quality control inspector is going out to the property, reporting what they see, what they think looks good, what doesn't look good, what's an issue. They're not a home inspector. They're not licensed to be a home inspector. They're just quality control. They're looking at it. They're your boots on the ground looking at the property on every 2 weeks. So they're reporting those items back to you. And then you can take action with that. And something as simple as, oh, hey, there's, maybe a contractor says there's a leak in the basement and this needs to be addressed. The quality control inspector identified that. They have a photo of it there and they made mention, hey, there's a leak in the basement. Now, you as the investor have an image of it, okay? The contractor likely already has seen it because it's in that particular group. They've seen the image. But then you may say to the contractor, and what you want to do, and I'm going to show you here, is you want to use a mention. So you're going to use the @ symbol and the person's name. So like, let's say I wanted to mention Christy. I would hit the @ symbol and Christy. Now what that does on Workplace, and this is where it's cool, is it lets Christy know, hey, there's an issue at the property and something needs to be handled at this particular house. So I'm able to mention, it's going to send her, Christy, a message via the Workplace, and it's going to send her a message via email to let her know that this is specific, there's an issue at the property, there's something that's wrong. So it's like an alert, a notification. We can be putting information in there, but if we need to communicate with somebody, all we need to do is mention that person. So those are some very, very important things that I think you can use Workplace for, is to make sure that you're mentioning people. Because when you are mentioning a contractor or you're mentioning a real estate broker, that's essentially saying, I have a question that I need answered. and you're going to get an answer for that. So, but the quality control inspector and the quality control inspector and the renovation contractor, they're kind of, they don't work against each other, but they are quality controlling each other in a way. You know, I mean, it's the quality control inspector is kind of looking at what the renovation contractor is doing, reporting back to you. And then the renovation contractor, they're not out there every single day. So they get this report that comes in that you're paying for to say, hey, here's what the property looks like right now. That renovation contractor sees, hey, not much has happened in those 2 weeks. Even though he's the general contractor, they should be going out there. But if nothing has really happened, they should be reporting back to you to let you know, well, here's what the holdup is. Here's what the issue is at that particular property. So there's so many things that we use Workplace for. If you dive in and you use this, a majority of our investors use this extremely well. I've been so pleased over the last few years of everyone using Workplace. But there are some investors that are like, hey, I kind of took it all offline. I put it all into email, or I put it all on text messages. And that is a problem. That's going to be a very difficult way to communicate. And if you have one portal, one spot, everybody communicating the exact same way, there's always a record. We can go back down the line, and you maybe said to that contractor, I need that fence picket fixed. And the renovation contractor said, all right, I'll do it. And then 3 months down the road, it's not done. We're able to then hold them accountable to that. And vice versa. If you didn't do something, the contractor said, you as an investor need to do it. We're able to do the exact same thing there. So a very, very important tool is having Workplace to be able to communicate, but then also having quality control to be reporting those photos. And the cost for you to use Workplace is zilch. The cost for you to hire a quality control inspector is $400, and it's worth every penny for somebody to go out there for a total of 6 months, if you needed it, to go out to the property once every 2 weeks and document with photos and comments if there's some sort of issue that arises at the property. So a really, really cool tool. It's something I think all investors, I don't think this is just for real estate or for investors. This is for like any business. I mean, literally, if you're in business right now and people need to see what's going on and there's things happening and it's remote, it's not happening right smack dab in the office that you're sitting in, which none of our properties are, you will actually have a real insight to what's happening at your property in real time, and our contractors know how to use it. Our quality control inspectors obviously know how to use it. Everybody knows how to use it, so you as the investor, if you use it, it becomes very, very important, because then they're going to be putting more and more. You'll notice the more you use it and the more you communicate through there, the more and more they're going to communicate through there. If you start taking things offline, let's talk about it on the telephone. You can. I'm not saying you can't talk to your renovation contractor on the phone. You absolutely can, okay? But I would summarize whatever you talked about. I'd just retype it up. Hey, today on August 16th, I talked to the renovation contractor, Bob. We talked about fixing the leak in the basement, and this will be addressed within the next 5 days. Another cool thing on Workplace, just one final little tip on there, there's an events. And this is something that's cool. You can create an event on Workplace. So let's say the renovation contractor says, I'm going to be done in 2 weeks. Create an event. Say this is the day the property is going to be finished. It's kind of letting that contractor know that at that point, this is coming up. There's a finish. The finish line is in 2 weeks. And so there's other cool ways. Play with it. Use it. I mean, it's a great tool. I think I kind of scratched the surface here today, but there's a lot of things that you can do, and this can really, really help you build your business and turn it into a successful business versus trying to do all this discombobulated communication that has been around us and is constantly evolving, and everybody trying to figure out which way is the best way to communicate. Let's have one single source. Let's put it all in there. We got great records. I can hold us accountable, the renovation contractor, the investor. Everybody knows what's going on. It's a completely transparent transaction, although be it a very private transaction, meaning only those that are in the group, invited into the group, are able to see it. It's not like the whole world can find this group and hop in there. They have to be approved to be inside the group. So, and if you had like a partner and you wanted to invite them in, we can invite them in. You know, you can invite them in. So they can easily be invited into the group, but whoever you wanted to invite in as well. So a great resource. And as always, if you have any questions on this, don't hesitate to give me a call, and I can walk you through it a little bit. I'm excited. would prefer that you're using it. So I will do anything that I can to try to assist in getting you up to speed on this. But the biggest thing is just remembering that the mentioning the at and the person's name is probably the biggest thing to remember. And that's going to send a message through Workplace, and it's going to send them an email. Hey, there's a question that's out there that needs to be addressed, or an issue that needs to be addressed. So thanks again, and always check out our website, chaseforeclosure.com.